Why are your cakes so expensive? Be like, oh, I could get it cheaper somewhere else. And is it not just cake? Is it not just flour and sugar? But let me just address this.
We're going under, and there's nothing we can do. The final hour before we let it go down red. It's such a heartbeat pounding in your chest in this story.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chokpe and I am your host on this channel. I am going to be addressing frequently asked questions from my clients during the course of our transaction or generally during the course of business that I've had to deal with. First off is, what is the difference between buttercream, whipped cream, Swiss meringue, fondants? Those are the basic type of frosting that we work with, and a lot of people just want to buy cake but they don't know the difference between these types of frosting. So I'm just going to be addressing them one after the other. Now, buttercream is the general type of buttercream that people use to decorate cake. General name for it is called American buttercream. Now, this frosting is very sweet and a lot of people like it because it's sweet, and some people that don't like sugar are always, they're always like, I don't want this type of icing, I'll prefer another one that is less sugary. So buttercream, the normal buttercream, it is very sweet, it is heavy, and it is affordable as well. So that is for the basic buttercream. For whipped cream, a lot of people call it ice cream frosting. It tastes like ice cream. It is very silky, less sugary, and it is very creamy. So if you are in the middle of picking between a buttercream cake and a whipped cream cake, I would advise that you should go for a whipped cream cake, because whipped cream cake goes with almost every flavor of cake, and it is very, very creamy and less sugary. The only thing about it is that it has to be refrigerated, while the normal buttercream doesn't necessarily have to be refrigerated. Now, moving on to Swiss meringue buttercream. That's the latest type of buttercream. It has been on for a while, but it just came into popularity of recent, like about 3 years ago. And this frosting, I can tell you, it is very, very silky. And if you are buying cake for somebody that you really cherish, that you love, this buttercream is a premium type of frosting, like I usually call it. It is very, very, very silky. It is less sugary, and it just has this class that it comes with. There's a way you use it. When we use it to decorate cakes, it makes the cake look so classy and so beautiful. A lot of people are always wondering, what's the difference between this and whipped cream? Well, Swiss meringue buttercream is the premium type of frosting. It is less sugary, and the good thing about it is that it is very silky, and even with minimum decoration, it still speaks class. Moving on to fondant frosting. Fondant frosting is basically for big events, and a lot of people like it for birthday cakes, but fondant frosting, people don't eat it. So if you are making cake fondants for a birthday cake, rest assured that you are going to end up throwing almost the entire icing away, because it is not eatable. Though some people eat it, but it is very hard and it is not eatable, just chewy like gum. Fondant frosting is majorly for big events. Maybe if you're having a landmark birthday, a big event, weddings, engagements, traditional cakes, and all these, big events, custom cakes, and all of that. Fondant frosting is what works, and fondant frosting is very expensive because of the time that it takes to work with. In fact, sometimes we have to use like 3 days to work on a fondant cake. Is usually time consuming and it's generally stressful, and that's why fondant cakes are usually expensive, and they are saved for big events and all of that. Number 2, another frequently asked question that I want to answer is, why is Swiss meringue buttercream so expensive? Now, Swiss meringue buttercream is a type of frosting that we do not use our normal margarine to make. We use butter, real butter, to make it, and butter is quite expensive. It works with just butter, sugar, and egg white, and butter is very expensive. In fact, that's the major ingredient for this type of buttercream. It is very expensive, it is time consuming, and it has to be refrigerated as well. So many times these Swiss meringue cakes don't usually come, they don't just come plain. We have to fill the cakes, put lots of decorations, not really lots of decorations per se, but a lot of techniques are involved in decorating a Swiss meringue cake, and that is why it is expensive to get. So just in case you want to place an order for a birthday cake and you want a Swiss meringue cake, have that at the back of your mind that it's a premium type of cake. It is not overly expensive, but it's a little bit more expensive than regular buttercream and whipped cream cake. Number 3 frequently asked question is, why is delivery rate expensive? This is one question that we've got to deal with. I personally have got to deal with over and over again with clients, and it always gets to this level where some clients say, oh, I don't want to buy this cake again because the delivery rate is expensive. Now, delivery money doesn't go into our pockets. We have to pay drivers to deliver cakes, and many times I'm going to address this topic later on, but just to clarify why delivery rate is expensive, we do not use bikes to deliver cakes. Delivering cakes with bikes is going to result in a disaster. I'm going to use the word disaster because carrying a cake with bike is going to scatter, and at the end of the day we are going to have to take the blame because we sent it with a bike. And that's the reason why we don't use bikes to deliver cakes. We use strictly cabs. Cars are the ones that carry cakes, even up until cupcakes. We use cars to deliver them because of safety and because we want your cakes to get to you in one piece. And moving around with cars is not cheap compared to when you are moving around with bikes, and that's the reason why cake delivery is quite expensive. If we're dealing with naked cakes and dealing with maybe pastries and all of that, we can deal with bikes. But when we are dealing with cakes, especially frosted cakes, cars are the best options, and they don't usually come is cheap, especially when we are dealing with far distance. So that's the reason why delivery rate is quite expensive, because we use cars to deliver frosted cakes. Number 4, what is the difference between cake sizes? A lot of people, when we send them our price list, they're always like, oh, I don't know the difference between these sizes. Can you send us pictures so we could choose and all of that? Yes, we'll send the pictures, but just to address this, we have different sizes of cakes and we have different shapes of cakes as well. So sizes vary depending on, and prices vary depending on the sizes of cakes, and also prices vary depending on the shape as well. We have sizes from 4 inches up until whatever inch you want, but the maximum inch that I've had to deal with is 16 inches. Now 4 inches is a very small cake. Now when we're talking about 4 inches, we're not talking about the height, we're talking about the width, because a lot of people take it that maybe 4 inches is the height of the cake. No, the height of the cake depends on how many layers of cake flavors you want, or our regular height of cake is 7 inches high. But when we are sending you price list and we're saying 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches and all of that, we are referring to the width of the cake. That's how wide it is. So many times if you are dealing with any baker at all and they say, oh, 6 inches cake, 7 inches cake, 8 inches cake, have it at the back of your mind that they are referring to the width of the cake and not the height of the cake. Number 5, pre-order. Why do we have to pre-order 48 hours before we get our cakes? This question, I've got to answer it over and over again, and it's even boldly written on my Instagram page. 48 hours, though sometimes 24 hours will work, but that's when we're dealing with maybe cupcakes or a small cake. But 48 hours gives us adequate time to get the resources for your cake, to prepare adequately for your cake, and not to do rush work for you. Because working 24 hours, we're going to have to bake same day and deliver same day, and that is quite stressful considering traffic, considering, if you don't have all the ingredients for your cake, all the equipment to make your cake too, we'll have to start rushing to get it, and it is quite uncomfortable sometimes. So whenever people come and they say, oh, they want they want to order cakes maybe 24 hours before and all of that, we usually charge express. And this is not to make you feel uncomfortable, to make you feel bad in any way. It's just that you're coming in last minute and it is quite uncomfortable for us and for everybody involved in making your cake. Even the driver too, we're inconveniencing almost everybody. So that is why 48 hours is highly recommended, so that we can have enough time to prepare for your cake and to give you the best service that you. Number 6, why are your cakes so expensive? This is another topic on its own, but let me just address this here. Now, some clients come and be like, oh, I could get it cheaper somewhere else. Fine, that's a general talk that everybody says, but whenever a baker charges you for a cake, or whenever I charge you for a cake, you should put into consideration the cost of production and every other thing involved in making this cake. First of all, I'm not the only one making the cake. I have staff to pay. We are also going to pay for electricity, gas, maintenance costs. There are a lot of things and bills going into making this cake. So a lot of people come and say, oh, just flour, sugar, those are the things involved in making your cake. It is not just these things. There are other things involved in making this cake. There are other bills that have to come into play while we're making this cake. So it is very important that whenever we charge you for cake, we're not trying to take so much money from you, and we're not trying to make you uncomfortable. It's just the way things are, is what we are buying that we are selling. And recently, I've got to deal with clients that are like, oh, things are now, your cake is now expensive. Oh, why is it like this? It's not our fault, really. I'm going to tell you, for one, that many times when we want to restock, we practically restock every week. When we want to buy things from the market, every single week this year, prices have not been the same. Why? The economy is getting is exhausting. A lot of things are becoming so expensive. Also understand that there are different skills involved in producing a cake. So you can't compare this person's price to this person's price. We're different and our skills are different as well. I hope I've been able to answer some frequently asked questions, and if you have more questions for me, please kindly drop them in the comment section, and please kindly subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this channel, and please kindly share our video as well. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.